Marie Osmond, the doll-faced country sweetheart with the voice of an angel, has sold over 100 million records worldwide. At 64 years old, this woman has conquered every stage America has to offer. From the Andy Williams Show to Las Vegas residencies worth millions. From Billboard #1s to Broadway. She's the youngest member of one of America's most famous families. The girl who sang Paper Roses at 13 and made the world fall in love. But behind that porcelain smile and those perfect harmonies lies a story not glamorous, but brutal. A story of postpartum depression so severe she couldn't hold her own babies. A story of financial ruin that cost her $80 million. A story of losing her 18-year-old son to suicide. This is not the Marie Osmond who danced with Donnie on television. This is the woman who contemplated jumping off her balcony, who fought bulimia for 25 years, who buried a child and had to sing the next day. If Marie Osmond has ever made you smile through her music or her strength, hit like as tribute to her refusal to shatter when life gave her every reason to break. This is the story of America's sweetheart, from Ogden, Utah to the pinnacle of entertainment, through losses that would destroy most people, to becoming a survivor who refused to let tragedy write her ending. October 13, 1959, Ogden, Utah. The birth of Olive Marie Osmond was marked not by celebration, but by expectation. She was the only daughter born into the Osmond family, surrounded by 8 brothers who were already building an entertainment empire. Her parents, George and Olive Osmond, were devout members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The family's life revolved around 2 things, faith and performance. There was no childhood. Not really. While other girls in Ogden played with dolls and rode bicycles, Marie was rehearsing, perfecting harmonies, learning choreography. The Osmond brothers had already appeared on the Andy Williams Show starting in 1962. When Marie was just 3 years old, she watched from the wings, absorbing every moment, knowing her turn would come. The pressure was suffocating. In the Osmond family, perfection wasn't a goal, it was a requirement. Their father managed them with military precision. Every note had to be flawless. Every smile had to be genuine. The family's wholesome image couldn't be tarnished. Marie learned early that showing weakness wasn't an option. When she was 3, Marie started performing with her brothers at Disneyland. By 5, she was on national television. There were no sick days, no complaints allowed. The family needed the money. The shows had to go on. Behind the scenes, the Osmond household struggled financially despite their fame. George Osmond made questionable business decisions. The children worked constantly, but the money disappeared into bad investments and mismanagement. Marie wore hand-me-down dresses from cousins. The family lived modestly in Utah while generating millions for television networks. Marie developed perfectionism that bordered on pathological. Every pound she gained was criticized. Every note that wavered was a failure. She learned to smile through pain, to perform when exhausted, to hide anything that might disappoint the audience or her father. The beginning was not glamorous, but grueling. A childhood traded for stardom before she was old enough to understand what she was. Losing, 1973. Marie Osmond was 13 years old when everything changed. She recorded Paper Roses, a country song that seemed an odd choice for a teenage girl from Utah. The record label was skeptical. Her brothers had the pop hits. Why would Marie go country? The song hit #1 on the Billboard country chart. Suddenly, the only daughter of the Osmond family wasn't just a backup singer. She was a star in her own right. The single sold over 1 million copies. Marie Osmond became the youngest female artist to have a #1 country hit. But success came with a price tag written in exhaustion. By 1976, Marie and her brother Donnie had their own variety show, Donnie and Marie. ABC gave them a prime-time slot. The show became a cultural phenomenon, watched by millions every week. Marie was 16, performing multiple times per week, rehearsing constantly, maintaining the family's wholesome image. The schedule was brutal. 12-hour days, live tapings, costume changes, song and dance numbers that required athletic stamina. And through it all, Marie was expected to maintain her weight, her smile, and her perfection. She developed bulimia. At 17, Marie Osmond was making herself vomit multiple times a day. She hid it from everyone. The pressure to stay thin for television was relentless. Producers made comments about her weight. Costumes had to fit perfectly. The camera added pounds, they said. She had to compensate. The eating disorder would plague her for 25 years. Donnie and Marie ran until 1979, making both siblings household names. But when the show ended, Marie was 19, burned out, and searching for something television couldn't give her, normalcy. She married Stephen Lyle Craig in 1982 in the Salt Lake Temple. She was 22. She wanted to be a wife and mother, to step away from the spotlight. She gave birth to her first son, Stephen James Craig. In 1983, then postpartum depression nearly killed her. Marie couldn't bond with her baby. She felt nothing but darkness. In her memoir, she described standing on her balcony, contemplating jumping. The only thing that stopped her was the thought of her son growing up, knowing his mother had chosen to leave him. She had the baby she desperately wanted and couldn't feel joy. The guilt was crushing, but Marie was an Osmond. You didn't admit weakness. You didn't seek help. You smiled and performed. She divorced Craig in 1985. The marriage lasted 3 years. In 1986, she married Brian Blossel, a motivational speaker. Together they would have 7 more children, 2 biological, 5 adopted. Her career continued. Marie returned to music, released albums, performed in Las Vegas, appeared on talk shows. In 2007, at 48, she competed on Dancing with the Stars, finishing 3rd. Her partnership with Jonathan Roberts earned perfect scores and proved Marie Osmond could still captivate America. Money poured in. Las Vegas residencies, albums, merchandise. The Marie Osmond doll collection generated millions. By the 2000s, Marie's net worth approached $100 million. Everything looked perfect. The world saw success, but the truth was different. February 26, 2010. Los Angeles, California. 8:30 p.m. Marie Osmond's son, Michael Brian Blossel, 18 years old, jumped from his apartment building in Los Angeles. He left a note. He'd struggled with depression for years. He'd been in and out of rehab. He felt he'd never be good enough, never measure up to the Osmond legacy. The pressure of being Marie Osmond's son was too much. Michael died on impact. The phone call came while Marie was preparing for her show in Las Vegas. She collapsed. The sound that came from her throat wasn't quite human. The primal scream of a mother learning her child is dead. Marie had adopted Michael as a baby in 1991. She'd loved him fiercely. She'd gotten him treatment for his depression. She thought he was improving. She thought he was safe. That she was wrong. The next day, Marie Osmond performed in Las Vegas. Not because she wanted to, because she didn't know what else to do. Because performing was what Osmonds did when the world fell apart. She walked on stage and sang while her son's body was in the morgue. I had to, she said later. If I'd stopped, I would have never started again. It is heartbreaking when a mother buries her child. It is devastating when that child chose to die. The guilt consumed her. What had she missed? What signs had she ignored? Could she have saved him if she'd been home instead of performing? The questions had no answers. The media coverage was relentless. Marie's private grief became public spectacle. Photographers followed her to the funeral. Tabloids speculated about what had driven Michael to suicide. The Osmond family's wholesome image cracked under the weight of very public tragedy. But Michael's death wasn't Marie's only loss. In 2007, Marie discovered she'd been financially devastated. Her business manager and his associates had embezzled and mismanaged her fortune. The woman who'd earned over $100 million in her career was effectively broke. She'd lost approximately $80 million to bad investments, fraud, and financial mismanagement. She was 48 and had to start over, again. The stress triggered her bulimia to return with a vengeance. She'd conquered the eating disorder in her 40s after 25 years of struggling. But the financial ruin and the stress of rebuilding brought it roaring back. Marie suffered severe postpartum depression after each of her 8 children. With some babies, she couldn't hold them without feeling overwhelming panic. She had intrusive thoughts about harming herself. She hid the depression for decades. terrified that admitting it would make her seem like a bad mother. What few people know is that Marie also struggled with her marriage to Brian Blossel. They divorced in 2007 after 21 years of marriage. The split was devastating. Marie had tried desperately to make it work, to keep her family together. She felt like a failure. In 2011, just over a year after losing Michael, Marie remarried her first husband, Stephen Craig. They'd divorced nearly 30 years earlier, but reconnected. The reunion was sweet, but carried the weight of everything that had happened between. Marie also battled severe health issues. She collapsed on Dancing with the Stars in 2007, suffering from exhaustion and dehydration. She pushed her 48-year-old body the way she'd pushed her 16-year-old body, to the breaking point and beyond. The pattern was clear. Marie Osmond didn't know how to stop, didn't know how to rest. Performance was survival. Stopping meant feeling everything she'd spent decades running from. At 64, Marie Osmond has built something that looks like peace. Her current net worth is estimated at $20 million, rebuilt from the ashes of financial ruin. She co-hosted the talk from 2019 to 2020, becoming the oldest woman to join the panel. She's still performing, still recording, still working. Marie lives in Utah with her husband Stephen Craig. They have 8 grandchildren who bring her joy she couldn't have imagined during her darkest days. She's reconnected with the faith that sustained her through Michael's death. Her Mormon beliefs provide structure and meaning. Her advocacy work is personal and powerful. Marie became a spokesperson for the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, which she co-founded in 1983. The organization has raised over $7 billion for children's hospitals. She's donated millions of her own money and countless hours. She speaks openly about postpartum depression now, breaking the stigma in the Mormon community where mental health issues were often hidden. Marie has testified before Congress about maternal mental health, using her platform to help other mothers who suffer in silence. The Marie Osmond doll collection still generates income. She's written multiple books, including memoirs where she details her bulimia, her depression, her grief. The vulnerability is intentional. She wants other people struggling to know they're not alone. But healing isn't linear. Marie still grieves Michael every single day. She keeps his photo close. She talks to him. Some wounds don't close. You just learn to live with them open. She's reconciled with her body after decades of war against it. At 64, Marie Osmond looks remarkable. But more importantly, she stopped making herself vomit. The bulimia that controlled her from 17 to 42 is finally defeated. Her relationship with Stephen Craig is tender. They lost each other once and found their way back. He was there through Michael's death, through the financial collapse, through everything. Marie still performs occasionally in Las Vegas, still sings. But now she knows when to stop, when to rest, when to choose family over the stage. At 64, Marie Osmond stands as proof that surviving isn't the same as living. But sometimes surviving long enough lets you learn how to live. From Ogden, Utah to the Andy Williams Show, from paper roses at 13 to burying her son at 50, from $100 million to bankruptcy to rebuilding. The world saw the Donnie and Marie smiles, the perfect teeth, the wholesome family. The billboard hits. But the truth is different. The truth is a woman who fought bulimia in silence for 25 years, who stood on a balcony and contemplated jumping, who lost a son to the same darkness she'd battled, who was robbed of $80 million and had to start over, who kept performing because stopping meant drowning. If this story touched your heart, leave a tribute below. Share a moment when Marie Osmond's strength reminded you that mothers who bury children can still find reasons to sing, that women who lose everything can rebuild, that perfection is a prison, but authenticity is freedom. Marie Osmond is proof that the girl who sang Paper Roses could survive when real life's thorns drew blood, not because she was stronger than everyone else, but because she refused to let tragedy have the final word.